Thank you for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I continue these business television programmes looking at the power of emotional intelligence and how it can help us future-proof work, if you like, and jobs. So it's not about necessarily keeping the same jobs, it's about using emotional intelligence to embrace artificial intelligence, to embrace the technology, the new technology that's around, and also to help us behave better and have better relationships within the workplace and at home using the power of emotional intelligence. Hello and welcome to Business Sense and Emotional Intelligence, communicating your way to success. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by David Fordham. Welcome, David, to the programme.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. And David, you are the CEO of MetaCube Europe.
That's right.
Okay, could you please tell us more about MetaCube, who they are, what they do, and how you got involved?
Sure. So MetaCube is a company that's based in India. They're in the beautiful pink city of Jaipur. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a fantastic tourist destination. It's not one of the main places that you'd expect an IT company to be. You know, it's not in Bangalore or any of the big tech cities. It's actually in a really traditional city, and it's a beautiful place to go. And I got involved with MetaCube originally as a client. So I used their services for a previous company. After finishing with that company, and I built up a relationship with them, and the role of CEO for Europe came up, and they offered it to me, and I'm delighted to be doing it.
Fantastic. Could you give me an example of how either MetaCube or how you have worked personally with other companies and helped them with artificial intelligence?
Sure. So let me tell you a little bit about MetaCube first. So MetaCube, our tagline is Trusted PDO, PDO meaning Product Development Outsourcing. And effectively the company is a development company, software development company. So it writes applications and programs for other companies. And there are a few areas that MetaCube works. So traditional software development, we really specialise on digital experience, so having a great digital experience. And one of the other areas is integration and intelligence in the applications, and it's the intelligence side that we're talking about here. I'll give you an example of that. So many people will talk about machine learning, where the machines are iterating through different scenarios and learning from those scenarios. So we work quite heavily with machine learning and also NLP, natural language processing. So
is that neuro-linguistic programming?
No. It's a different NLP. This is natural language processing. So it's basically understanding the structure of sentences and paragraphs in context and what they're actually saying. So taking language, breaking it down, working out what it's saying, and then digitally using that information to make decisions and use the structure of that language. And it can be used with things like voice recognition. So if you have a voice recognition app, you speak something, it converts that speech into language, it then breaks that language down, understands it, and then does something with it. So we're working quite a lot in those two areas, machine learning and natural language. And a typical example of where we might use that would be in something called a chatbot. So a chatbot is this is something that's fairly standard in the industry, where you would, instead of asking a client to fill in a huge amount of information into a form, which is quite boring. And if you're selling a product that is very varied in the information you need from the client to be able to sell it, you may have to capture a lot of information. A chatbot simplifies that, so it would enable a client to say, for example, put in one sentence of what they want, and then the chatbot will intelligently understand that sentence, break it down, and then ask very pertinent questions if there's any information that's missing, so that they can then make the experience of the user simplified, and actually still get all of the information needed to make that interaction, if that makes sense.
I think it does. So would I find a chatbot then when I'm going on a website looking for something, and then is that a chatbot that says to me, do you want to ask questions, or is that something completely different?
That's a good example of one. Yeah, right. Absolutely. So if you're on a website and you need some help, you click the little chat button. You actually may find that you're going to feel like you're having a chat with a person, but you may actually find behind the scenes actually some of that initial engagement, maybe all of that engagement, is a machine taking your requests, breaking them down, understanding them in context, and then replying to you with the best answer possible for what you're asking.
Just before we go into the break, I'd like to just understand a little bit more about machine learning. So I know that robots can be programmed to do things. When we talk about when you talk about machine learning, are we talking about a computer that is given, for example, a selection of information, and is then given the objective that you want to achieve, and is that then that the robot then works with what it's got, and then through trial and error or through drawing on, I don't know, information from somewhere, is that how the machine is kind of learning to get to the desired destination it is then given, or is it something completely different?
No, I think that's right. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of machine learning, something you may have used actually, and if you haven't, certainly many of the listeners will have used. So if you have, let's say you've got an iPhone, or you've got a phone and you take lots of photographs, you now find with a lot of the photograph applications that you can do face recognition. So you can, find all of the photographs of, all the photographs of my wife or my daughter or, my friends. And the way you tend to start with face recognition with an application like that is you'll say, right, here's a photograph, I want to find similar photographs. And it starts to put similar photographs up. And then you have to say, yes, no, yes, that's the right person, no, that's not the right person. And initially, it gets a lot wrong. So you find that you're having to answer yes or no quite a lot for the first few photographs. And then gradually it starts to learn and recognise what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to, and then it starts to take more and more chances, and it will exponentially be able to understand more and more about the facial characteristics of the person you're trying to capture.
So it's like it's recognising the DNA of the photograph, and so therefore being able to it's basically getting more and more right, which then makes it more certain of being accurate.
Absolutely
when
right.
It comes back again.
So with machine learning, you tend to find that you need to start teaching it, and then actually it will then pick up from that, and then it will start learning more and more itself through the algorithms and the programming that you've done, and usually around a particular purpose. But you teach it until it's almost like setting a child off on a bike with stabilizers, and when you eventually let go, they can run and run. It's like that with the machine learning. You start off
fantastic. Do stay with us, won't you, for the second half, and we'll come back and find out more about how artificial intelligence sits alongside emotional intelligence, which is, of course, my interest, because artificial intelligence is programmed, but there is machine learning, so they can actually in some ways be seen to be thinking for themselves.
Indeed.
But that doesn't take the place of emotional intelligence.
Right.
So do stay with us and come back and hear the second half when we talk about AI and emotional intelligence. We'll see you in just a moment. Well done. Thank you very much, David. EQ, emotional quotient, is better known as emotional intelligence. It is a tangible tool that can sit alongside your services or your product, and it can be taught. Leaders with high EQ have less stress, they're more effective, and they earn more money. There's a great saying, just because we have pains, it does not give us permission to be a pain. I believe that teaching emotional intelligence has a direct impact on your sense of success and your net profits. EQ will empower you and your workforce to drive the change that you want. Change brings transition. EQ can help unpack what's holding you back and speed up that period of transition.